The Heisman race is starting to narrow. Fernando Mendoza has now taken the lead at plus 160 to bring home the most coveted individual award in all of sports, and understandably too. That drive, the Heisman is often awarded to a guy that has moments, memorable moments in which they carry their team to victory or they display a level of physical, mental fortitude that is uncharacteristic to what we see normally in college football. Well, what he just did on the road in Happy Valley is something they'll be talking about forever, not just in Bloomington, but maybe all throughout the college football world, depending on where Indiana goes from here. He is currently the favorite, understandably so, but will there be Heisman voters that will sit there and say, hang on a second, if your Heisman moment comes against a team that is 0-6 in the Big Ten, do we need to factor that in? I'm just saying, I'm not saying I view it through that lens, but I think there are probably some voters that will look at it and say, well, hang on a second, your Heisman moment can't come against a team that's 3-6. Julian Sayin is sitting there at plus 185, and he is continuing to play at a really high level. I think at this point, he's got the best chance of probably winning because of the platform that he'll be playing on, not just in the next 2 weeks, but the massive audience that he'll generate when playing on the road at Michigan, and the massive audience he'll likely have when teeing it up against Fernando Mendoza in the Big Ten championship. Ty Simpson currently sits at 6-1. He's got the third best odds right now. The numbers from this past weekend won't necessarily blow you away, but if you look at everything that Ty Simpson does for Alabama to put them in position on every single offensive snap, I think his candidacy is as strong as anybody. Now, will he ultimately win it? I have no idea. He needs to have a big performance against Oklahoma in what should be a really, really well-viewed game this weekend, and then he needs to have a big game on the road at Auburn, and then back that up with an incredible game and maybe knocking off the undefeated Texas A&M Aggies. So he is still very much in the mix, but I do think he needs to play at a high level here down the stretch, and I think he probably will. Marcel Reed was surprised to see his odds dip just a little bit off this past weekend's performance. He's now plus 850. Marcel Reed has continued to really impress me all season long. I think this is a really good young man. I think he's a really good player, and I think he's just starting to scratch the surface of what he's ultimately going to become as the season continues to progress. And then the one guy whose numbers I just can't quite fathom, Diego Pavia, who's currently sitting there at 2,500. Now, a lot of people will look at it and say, well, it's Vanderbilt. How many people are paying attention? How many of the 900 plus Heisman voters, why we have that many voters is ridiculous. I think we could cut that number down by 90% and still award the trophy to the most outstanding player in college football. Do we really need 1,000 people voting on this, especially several of which that don't even cover the sport? Probably not. But if you watch Diego Pavia, you would be hard-pressed to find a guy that better exemplifies the, quote, most outstanding player in college football. This past weekend, his defense did not play well. And Vanderbilt, by the way, is having a remarkable season. Okay? His defense did not play well. Well, he goes for over 300 through the air, 100 on the ground. The second game in Vanderbilt history when they had a 300-yard passer, a 100-yard rusher, and 2 100-yard wide receivers. Pavia is the first SEC player with 350 passing yards and 4 total touchdowns in back-to-back games since 2021. He takes the game over on a weekly basis, and he needs to be on everyone's short list. Now, whether you vote for him number 1, number 2, number 3, I don't know. I don't even know if you need to have him on the ballot, but if you are not considering his candidacy, you don't deserve to have a vote, just being honest. Jeremiah Love sits at 30-1 right now. I think Jeremiah Love's outstanding. Unfortunately for Jeremiah Love, it's very hard for a running back to win it. The quarterback position takes so much attention. The quarterback position gets so much credit, gets so many accolades. The numbers can be astounding. So I think it's always difficult for a running back to garner that type of attention unless they're running for nearly 2,000 yards. I don't think he's going to hit that number. But if you watch how outstanding he is, he absolutely embodies everything that you could possibly want in a Heisman Trophy contender. And then finally, Gunnar Stockton, who sits at 40-1. He's on the short list, but at this point, will he have the numbers to potentially back it up? It doesn't seem likely, but he does have some big opportunities against Texas this week. Everyone's going to be watching that game. Against Georgia Tech on Black Friday, everyone will be watching that game. And in the outside chance they get to the SEC title game, I think Gunnar Stockton will garner a lot of attention in that environment as well.